after seeing Caleb Wilson perform well in Summer League, there are some out there that is already speculating that there might be a little bit of conflict between Caleb Wilson and Matas Buzelis once basketball resumes for training camp and moving on into the regular season. Matas Buzelis actually responded to some of this speculation. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about if Donovan Atwell did enough to earn a contract with the Chicago Bulls. But before we talk about it and break it all down, you already know, you got to hear the music first.
Cognac. Gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, like what you're listening to today, make sure you go ahead and perform the simple two-step process to support the channel the easiest way possible. And that is number one, hitting that like button. And number two, hitting that subscribe button. Don't be a freeloader. Come on in and join the Shy Boys Podcast family. But hey, we got a lot of things to talk about today, and we're going to kick this thing off. We're talking about Matas Buzelis speaking on the fit alongside Caleb Wilson. Now, this is something that has come up from a number of content creators, more specifically, Ruthie Polinsky. She questioned the fit between Caleb Wilson and Matas Buzelis on 104 The Score, pretty much saying that it's going to be very, very interesting. She went on to say, and quote, I think he loves being sort of the face of the future of the Bulls. And if he kind of takes a step back, or if, and I mean a step away from the spotlight, how will he handle that? How will he take to being second in command to an exciting player like Caleb Wilson? End quote. Now, Buzelis got wind of this, seen the clip of, that was posted over there. And he had this to say: it's a team sport, love. And then followed up that response by saying, we're all going to shine, end quote. And that's exactly how I'm feeling about it. Matas Buzelis speaking about it, it makes a lot of sense. Now, there's going to be some people that's going to come out here and say Caleb Wilson is absolutely going to be the number one. Or there's going to be some people that say Matas Buzelis has been here longer. He's going to absolutely be the number one. The way I see it, it's just going to play itself out. At the end of the day, guys are going to understand their role over time. I think even if somebody comes in and say this my shit, that's not necessarily going to mean anything until actual games start to be played. And we know that Caleb Wilson has that dog mentality, has the want to be one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player of all time, according to his words. Obviously, some people is going to sell him short, but those are his goals. He has the right to be delusional about his goals. And as he said, he's going to chase that. If he falls short, at least he said he tried, and at least he set those goals for himself to see what he can potentially accomplish at the start of his NBA career. We've seen a lot of spectacular things out of Caleb Wilson during Summer League. We obviously seen the way that he can handle the ball, the way that he can drive to the basket and make exciting plays, the way he can come in on a defensive side and really change the shot creator shot. We've seen all these different things, but now you're moving on from Summer League. Now in preparing for preseason training camp in the regular season, there's going to be some new challenges for Caleb Wilson. And I think that there could possibly be a little bit of conflict amongst Matas Buzelis and Caleb Wilson, but nothing in a negative light to where these guys can't coexist with one another. If there are some people that still believe Matas Buzelis has that star potential, I'm cool with that. Same thing can be said about Caleb Wilson, but I think none of that is going to matter until actual basketball games are going to be played. Like, for instance, we look at the Anthony Edwards, him getting drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves with Karl Anthony Towns already there. One can argue that when Edwards entered the team, Cat was the best player. But over time, we all learned that it's actually Anthony Edwards. The same thing could potentially happen here. But there's no guarantee in anything when it comes to how this team is going to play. And I think that Matas Buzelis put it the best. We're all going to shine. And I really believe that. Now, would it come down to some situational stuff to where they're going to have to work out? Absolutely. Late game situations, last shot situations, executed on the defensive side. Who's going to talk? Who's going to hold each other? Who's going to hold guys accountable? We're all still going to find that out. I don't think Matas Buzelis has that personality to where he's going to feel salty if he has to take a back seat. And I will hope that Caleb Wilson not going to feel salty for the sake of the team having to take a back seat to say whoever has the hot hand in said game. I think that the ultimate thing at the end of the day should be winning basketball games. It should not matter who wants to be the guy at this particular moment in time before we even watch the games. Now, another thing can be said if we get to January and there's a clear indication on who that said number one option is or who the said go-to person is. I think that we have to watch basketball games before we get to just say, this Caleb Wilson's team now. Let's watch the basketball play out. I appreciate Matas Buzelis' words when it comes to this, that we're all going to shine, because one could argue that regardless of who's going to be the number one, we need to see wins. Like, I don't really give a damn. Like, I don't care. We need to see wins. We need to see teams that is starting to move in the right direction. And I think that with Matas Buzelis saying that this is a team sport, he's absolutely correct. How many times we've seen players go one-on-one and put up 35, 40 points and they still lose? These guys still have to come together offensively, still have to come together defensively, and build some type of understanding to where the chemistry can be displayed on the basketball court for the sake of the team. And I think those are going to be some things that we're all going to figure out. Those are going to be things that's all going to work itself out. And I appreciate Matas Buzelis chiming in on that and just kind of quieting the fire or the noise, even though the noise is going to continue from some radicals that we, irrational people that we have, within our Bulls Nation. We know we got the crazy ones. We got the ones that's going to call Josh Giddey a shooting guard. That's the craziest shit I ever heard in my life. We're going to have the ones that say Matas Buzelis is complete dog water. And yeah, we're going to have people completely off the rails. But I think that the best evidence that we're going to have right in front of us at the end of the day, it's just basketball. At the end of the day, we're going to be able to tell after a number of games, all right, who has it going, who's the guy that's going to be, the more dominant force. We're going to have that. And I think that one thing that we all need to appreciate right now, if we keeping it a buck, we need to just appreciate that we have two really talented guys on this team. Appreciate that. Allow that stuff to work itself out. Allow it to work itself out. It's going to work itself out. I'm not going to tell anybody how to fan, but I think my position is just be excited that we got some fucking talent on this team to where we can have these kind of discussions in a Matas Buzelis and in a Caleb Wilson. I would like to ask you all, me and C-Dub kind of talked about it offline. What do you anticipate Caleb Wilson doing in year one? Stat-wise, do you see him being somebody that's going to go 17-7 in a block and a half, 2 blocks? How do you view it? How do you view Matas Buzelis this upcoming season? Will he continue to add up to his total points scored per game? Let's see. Drop those down in the comment box below. Let's continue to discuss this. But again, just to end before, just kind of wrap this all up, before we move on to talking about Donovan Atwell, I would just say, I'm happy Matas spoke on it. I'm happy he wants everybody to shine. I'm happy that he's excited for this because he's correct. This is a team sport. Doesn't matter if a guy goes out there and drop 30 every night. You still need your other teammates to go out there and help for the sake of the team. And I think ultimately this whole thing is going to figure itself out. And if there's some competitiveness amongst each other, let's just hope that it's friendly competition and it doesn't lead to something that's more egregious at the end of the day. But hey, now let's switch on over to one of my summer league favorites, and Donovan Atwell. Did Donovan Atwell do enough in summer league? It's the biggest question that we all should be asking ourselves. I say he still has more work to do. I will say this though. Donovan Atwell absolutely passed phase one. And phase one was Summer League. He absolutely passed phase 1, shooting 50% from the field and 48% from the 3 on 6 attempts a game. That sounds pretty damn familiar from down at his time in Texas Tech. And that's one of the things I was really looking forward to. The way that he can space the floor. The way that we got a first row seat on how he can create his own space just to put up the shots. Just to put up the shots. But obviously, with all things that we know, with him ending summer league on a high note versus the Cleveland Cavaliers with 22 points in just 27 minutes, going 8 of 10 from the field and 6 of 7 from the three-point line, that was a great way to put a bow on summer league. Now, what is next for Donovan Atwell? It's phase 2. It's training camp. Training camp and preseason. Can you make it to phase 3? The phase 3 will be, we're going to bring you on. You might have a small role on this basketball team. But obviously, you got to get through training camp. Obviously, he still has to show more on the defensive side of the ball. I believe we got some good glimpses of it, but you definitely want to see it on a more consistent level now that you're moving on to facing these more NBA-ready talent. You know what I'm saying? The Norman Powells, when you match up versus them, the Josh Giddeys and the Matas Buzelis and the Caleb Wilsons, and how do you operate defensively on that? And what can you include on the offensive side that you did in Summer League? How can you help that translate into helping the Chicago Bulls? Because I have the belief that we still have one roster spot, and I think that should go to a quote-unquote specialist like a three-point shooter like Donovan Atwell. But it's not up to me. I always say it is not up to me and my determination. It is up to the said player. Do I believe in the guy? Absolutely. I think if the Chicago Bulls don't make something happen with this player, somebody's going to scoop him up. And who knows how his career is going to shift from there on out. But this is absolutely just the beginning for him. He's currently on a Exhibit 10 contract, so he automatically receives the invite to training camp in September. So now all the things that you did during Summer League, getting familiarized with a lot of your teammates that may be present for the training camp and some that may not, getting familiarized with the coaches and what they expect out of you. You have this knowledge in your head. Now let's go get in the lab. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to improve. Let's continue to take the feedback from your coaches so we can keep moving in the right direction. I'm really rooting for the kid if y'all can't tell. Do I like guys like Jalen Sellers? I do. Do I like guys like Muscle Milkman and Toby Owaka? I do. But I think that the Chicago Bulls' last available slot should be given to a guy like Donovan Atwell. Now, the Chicago Bulls don't have to flat out offer him the contract. I believe they still have 1 2-way contract available, and that could be another route, you know what I'm saying, given to Donovan Atwell to make sure that he remains within the organization. Obviously, if he performs well during the preseason, if he makes it through that time, there could be some others up for discussion to where somebody could potentially reach out to his representation and say, hey, they want to offer you a 2-way contract. We want to offer you a fully guaranteed contract to come play for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's a number of ways that this thing can happen, but I'm happy that he made it past phase 1 and he received a passing grade in phase 1 during Summer League. I think there is still a lot of work that needs to be done with Donovan Atwell. It is not the end all be all just quite yet. I think he's earning it, but he has to continue to earn it. He's moved through that first phase. Now we got to move to that second phase. If you don't know, now you know. I'm a big fan of this guy. It's been a long time since we had a specialized three-point shooter that can create his own space and knock down the damn 3-ball at a high clip like he did in Summer League and in Texas Tech. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time since we've seen some stuff like that. So I'm rooting for the kid. I like to see young underdogs fight and claw and earn their spots. And hopefully, if he does do well, the Chicago Bulls do right by him and offer him something. You know what I'm saying? To keep him around the organization and continue on with his developmental process, because that's why we're leaning into this regime right here. We want these guys to improve. We want to see guys actually develop within our developmental process. If we sending a guy down to the G League, we don't want a Carlick Jones. goes to be MVP. Never really see him on the main team. We don't necessarily want a Mac McClung. Wins MVP. Never really see him on a team. We don't really want Marko Simonovic, Adama Sanogo, go and do some stuff down at G League. Never really see him on the team. We're trying to see if we can really just find some diamonds in the rough, quote unquote, that could potentially help make, go make some noise in the G League, receive opportunity with the, the big guys, with the varsity team, and maybe be able to carve out a role for themselves for the Chicago Bulls, depending on the matchup. I know there's going to be a lot of moving parts within the next season or two with the Chicago Bulls. I would imagine that there's going to continue to be some turnover and some decisions that have to be made for the sake of bettering this team to where you may want to add additional shooting, maybe want to switch up a little bit of something in your backcourt, maybe switch up some things with your reserves. But we want to see the developmental processes actually help and be a benefit to the Chicago Bulls finally, because over the last few seasons, we have not seen that. So hopefully we get to see it. Donovan Atwell, I'm rooting for you, my guy. And you passed phase 1. Let's see if you can make it on to phase 2. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode. Before you get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red. Y'all already know. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
Cognac. Gang.